It is 7 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call this meeting of City Council to order. As we begin this evening, by now I think we are all aware of the sadness that has been placed over our community. Our sheriff, the longest serving sheriff in the state of West Virginia, Virgil Miller, unexpectedly passed away this week at Ruby Memorial Hospital in Morgantown. So I'd like for us to dedicate our moment of silent reflection tonight as we begin the meeting to Sheriff Miller and to his family for a life of service well lived for this community. So would you please join me? Thank you very much. Now, you join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Laura, we thought it would be great to invite your family to see what you've done for the past 12 years, and we thought they could watch you give your last report.
Oh God! I only have 20 minutes, right? We can bump it up to 30.
Would you please come up to the front with me?
Sure. I could rattle off some numbers.
So, we wanted to do this a month ago before you left, but unfortunately, death in your family, your mother-in-law's family. But as a token of our sincere appreciation for you were the first CVB director of the new CVB. So, in all that you have done, it is truly, I would consider this an end of an era. When I first got word that you were going to become the CVB director, I said, who in the world is Laura Meadows? I was fresh out of college in 2011 and had submitted a whole lot of logo ideas for the CVB. And when I learned that you were the CVB director, and I said, well, she's Johnny Meadows' wife. You know Johnny. I said, oh yeah, I know Johnny. Went to high school with Johnny. But what I've come to learn over the past 11, 12 years is you are fiercely professional. You are a tremendous leader. You have put Upshur County on the map. You have worked for organizations such as the Strawberry Festival, Create Buckhannon, Chamber of Commerce, Development Authority, and here at the City of Buckhannon. You have built a family with two great boys, Harlan and Harrison, here in this community where you've grown up. And you were also bestowed an Outstanding Young Alumna Award from Fairmont State University. You received that very early on after you graduated from Fairmont State, which is certainly an honor. And they even mentioned when you were receiving that award that you worked and helped West Virginia Wesleyan College. So I'm sure there probably were some people at Fairmont like, wish we could have her.
Put some plugs.
Some plugs. That's right. But we wanted to ask you to come tonight for us to show our appreciation in everything that you have done. We will miss you, although we know we will see you, but we will miss you in the office. We will miss your upbeat attitude. You never once came to work without a smile on your face. And I think Mr. Sanders would agree, I think we all would agree that a person to serve in a role as you have, to promote a community of any kind, to be upbeat and positive and always looking for a way to help us shine is critically important. So on behalf of the city and our council members and everyone who works in our organization, I want to present to you the city's highest honor, an official key to the city of Buckhannon, for you as a keepsake for everything that you've done.
Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. We'll do the official ceremony.
Photo. Do you want one with your family?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, over here.
Thank you. All right, boys, you want to get a picture?
Yep.
Look, we can go to Dairy Queen anytime we want.
I'm going to take you up on that.
Oh, I'm in the way.
Look at me real quick. 1, 2, 3.
Over
We
here.
want a picture too.
And what are the boys' names?
Harlan and Harrison.
Harlan.
Ian.
Oh, that's close.
You have a phone? You want somebody using your phone?
All right, here, Lori, you come on.
Well, we'll do that.
We'll do one more.
We'll do that.
1 over 1, 2, 3.
There. Okay.
You send that to me.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. Thank you.
I kept out all of the fun stories from the office that whenever I would pop my head in, so that's probably for the best for the media's sake. So
It's always entertaining.
It's always
a good place to stop and just
You headed to Dairy Queen, aren't you?
Swap those later.
There's enough to go
Are
around.
you headed to Dairy Queen?
I'm sorry?
Headed to Dairy Queen?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where you going to celebrate?
Thank you.
thank you guys.
I have one more thing.
All right. Okay, we do under recognized guests. Shane Jenkins could not be here this evening, so if it's okay with council, when we get down to strategic issues for discussion or vote, I'll just go ahead and run through the Strawberry Festival's request as a board member myself, and Lori is here. Lori is vice president of the Strawberry Festival, so if there's something I miss, Lori can help. If there's something Lori misses, I can help. So if that's okay with council, we will bring Kaylee up. Kaylee, welcome. This is, as she told me before the meeting began, this is her last time with us this spring. It is April, and they will be out of here by this time next month. So we will not see you back here until the fall. So
Yes.
bring us the greetings from Westland.
First of all, thank you guys for having me back. And like the mayor said, this is my last one until the fall. The students at Wesleyan are currently on Easter break. We had no classes today or tomorrow, but many of us stayed on campus, especially the spring athletes. If you drive by the campus, you'll notice the ongoing work on the steeple project for Wesley Chapel. And we are excited to see the culmination of work prior to commencement. April is a very busy month for our campus. This Sunday, our food service will be offering Easter brunch from 11:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. at just $12 a person in the dining hall, and it is open to the public. Our annual Spring Sing is a tradition that you will have to see to believe. It is being held on April 15th at 7 p.m. in Wesley Chapel. And I'm sure the mayor will remember his days participating in Spring Sing.
I do.
Also, our athletic Hall of Fame banquet and induction will be occurring on April 15th. The annual Students, Academic, and Leadership Awards Assembly will take place on April 23rd in Wesley Chapel at 2 p.m. This is where many students get honored for their amazing work inside and outside of the classroom. We will be hosting a multitude of receptions for our graduating seniors. On May 5th, we will have a Department of Education senior reception, a nursing graduate reception, and a ceremony for our international students, as well as Black Student Union, PRISM, and First Generation students. Baccalaureate will be held on May 5th at 6:30 p.m. in the Wesley Chapel. Commencement will be on May 6th at 10 a.m. in Rockefeller Center. We are looking forward to hosting several camps and conferences this summer, including some Strawberry Festival band guests, the United Methodist Annual Conference, Try This, our Gifted Camp, several athletic camps, DMLA, and of course, WAMSB. That's all I have. I hope you guys have a great summer, and I'll see you guys in the fall.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
Enjoy your Easter break.
Yes, you too.
All right. Does anybody else wish to address council? I don't believe so, so we will consider public comment closed. Up next, we move into our department and board reports, first with our Public Works Director, Jerry Arnold. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Doing well.
Most of our Public Works employees participated in the traffic and incident management training yesterday at the Public Safety Complex in preparation for all the festivals and events this summer. Street crews continue to work on the sidewalk projects. The fence along Stockard Community Center should be installed next week, and the sidewalk will follow shortly after that. I'm going to be working with a crew. We're going to start a 7-day work week, commencing with next weekend, weather permitting, to try to wrap some of these projects up that we got going on prior to festivals. The contractors completed the rough-in work at Scott Street intersection. We'll be paving that in the next couple weeks. Power service has been energized, and the street lights on South Kennar are operational. We have installed 4 additional street lights in Jawbone Park, and we'll be installing lights at the back of the pavilions to light up the parking lot. Sewer department crew continues the installation of the storm sewer along Amelia Drive as part of the Gateway West project. We've secured a much-needed right-of-way, and the project is out to bid for the North Locust Street sewer project. Water crews, just a public service announcement, water crews will be flushing hydrants next week. Under waste collection, we've completed our waste collection audit of the commercial customers, and I'm compiling that data now and be submitting a report to the Waste Collection Board very soon. And under engineering, the Tennerton Booster Station Contract B bid was awarded to TradeWorks in the amount of $172,500. Mayor, that is all I have unless there's questions.
Are there any questions for Jerry relative to his report this evening? Hearing none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Very good. Have a happy Easter.
Have a happy Easter to you as well. Up next, we have our Finance Director, Amby Jenkins. Good evening.
Hello. I don't think my report's going to be quite that short.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to give you your balances for March. General fund money market and checking, $539,484. The CDs at $86,537. And then historic landmarks, $3,027, no changes. Stockard Youth Center capital campaign, no changes, $439,881 plus the $12,000 pledge. Coal tax at $65,579. Municipal stabilization, $915,000. Flood control account, $78,000. Consolidated Public Works Board, $143,720 with their CDs, cemetery CDs remain the same, $235,000. Sales tax, $1,624,000, and then the American Rescue Plan of $1,938,000. The revenues for March were $384,000, and the expenditures were $884,000. And you ask why?
Why?
So we had some big expenses. We're really starting to do a lot of work with the weather and construction work. Bethesda, Stockard Youth Center facility, some of their draws for that design work is $55,000. Division of Justice Academy, tuition for 3 officers, $4,500. Capital Electric, light pole heads for Madison Street, $21,000. Scott Electric, wiring and service box supplies for the electric at Madison, $9,672. Bruffy Trucking, stone for Florida in Madison, $3,631. RDR Energy Concrete Gateway West Project, $2,400. TradeWorks Labor for South Florida Street, $9,420. John Watson's Trucking 20-foot container Connex box, $2,600. TradeWorks for Labor at the Theater, $24,556. And the big one is Mountain State Electric FEMA generator, $222,300. Now, that's a grant, so we'll get some of that back in to recoup. I've got some other reports in there. I'll go on down through this. After we worked on the budgets for 23, 24, and they were submitted to the state. We had originally received word from the Public Employees Insurance Agency of rates that we would build in at 9.7%. Those take effect July 1st. During some legislative sessions, a Senate bill was passed and that changed. So to make a long story short, we're going to end up with a 15.6% increase. So that will be a budget revision in the new year once that comes into place. Aside from that change, this plan qualifies for a high deductible. This is health insurance for our employees, which is what plan the city funds for the employees. And that'll increase their deductible $100 for single and $200 for non-single plans. Now, this is regulated by the IRS. This isn't something that PEIA did or anything we have control over. The increase will amount to about $84,000 per year in whole. That's all of our departments, waterway, sanitary, and city. And I wanted to update you on that. So we'll work on that when that comes in. We are still paying much less than we were with previous plans. So even at that, we're still in good condition with the health insurance. The Colonial Theater, give you a brief report on some of their work. Ann's been working on social media campaign, and she is learning how to use and operate the new website that they have. And it has been launched, and she's been working with that. The building updates, and Jerry can maybe want to weigh on this. The concession stand is really complete. It looks really good. And as you know, they're working on the facade. They've done a lot of work on that. They are working on the chairlift. That's almost finished. And then work is very close to being finished in the basement studios, bathrooms, green room, and kitchen. So in the budget revision, you're going to see we're going to ask for a little more money because there's a little bit more work to do. Not much more, but a little bit more. Also with CAC, some dates to be updated on. West Virginia Dance Company will be there April the 28th and 29th for performances. And they are currently rehearsing for Red Velvet Cake Wars. That's going to be May the 4th through the 7th. And then the Rustic Mechanical shows will be in there. July the 14th. The Rotary contributed $2,000 to the two programs for West Virginia Dance Company and the Rustic Mechanicals. And then Jacob, who is our arts facilitator through the Board of Education, Art 26201, and Upshur County teachers have been organizing to prepare for an exhibit that will open actually tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So if you get a chance, go take a look at it. That's the students' artwork up there. And then there was talk about having the official grand opening on April the 15th. Now, we are going to continue to do things in there, but the official grand opening won't happen until October. The board thought it would be best to wait till the new seats are in and it's more complete and more fresh looking. But in the meantime, we will still be operating shows in there and events. On the library reports in there too. I'm going to try to remember to report on that when they send it to us. So January, February, March, January 481 people came to the door, 538 in February, 517 in March. They've got a few upcoming dates. April the 15th, Tea Time Book Discussion. They are going to attend the April 20th City Council meeting to update council on their activities down there, because they've been talking about some design work down there to kind of update the building. And I think they want to bring this before council because, as you know, the property is owned by the city of Buckhannon. We appoint the board members, or the city appoints the board members, so there's a lot of tie in there. We have a levy that is run every few years, and the levy helps that library operate. April the 23rd through the 29th is National Library Week, and then they're having an open house on April the 25th. May 9th is their board meeting, and then the library is going to be closed during some festival events, May the 13th and the 18th. Well, actually, they're saying the 19th through the 20th as well is going to be closed for the festival while that's going on. And then Memorial Day weekend, 27th through the 29th. And I think that's it for that part.
While you're there, you tell me, do you want to take a breather, or can we talk about F3 and F4 while you're...
I work for you, whatever you want me to do.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if that's the case. I think it's the other way around.
Could we ask a question about
Sure.
what she's already doing?
Yeah.
First off, Amby, you're estimating that an $84,000 increase over and above what we had already appropriated
Yes.
with that budget.
Yes.
So that 84 is new expectation of funds.
Yes.
And about 30% of our total, almost 100 employees, is general fund employees. So about 25,000 of that would be general fund,
Yes, that's what I kind of
approximately?
estimated. Yeah.
Okay. And is that's part of what we're going to do next, is that right? So we're not looking, people get confused about 84,000.
Yes, and that's why I mentioned it's the entire city. It's
Right.
all of our departments.
Right.
And you're right, about a third of that is general fund employees.
Right.
So it's not the whole 84,000 that's on
Great.
general fund.
Thank you very much.
That's true, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
But that's not gonna be, I don't believe that'll be in this resolution, budget revision.
No.
No, that'll be in the first
This is the new year, so we can't do anything to that budget until we get to July 1st.
Okay,
Right.
great.
No, this budget revision, you're going to work in through this fiscal year.
Correct.
What was first, the budget revision or?
Yes, budget revision. This will be budget revision number 5 for the fiscal year 2022-2023.
Okay. So as you know, again, we've been doing quite a bit, one of them being the event center, and I wanted to put some funds in there for that. So while I was in there, I wanted to go ahead and address a few issues, and then I saw that, you know, as you're looking at it, you see things need addressed. So let me go through the expenditures first. Events, outside funding is what I call 409-341-05. I added another 20,000 there because, of course, you know, we're going to fund the barbecue bash for 10,000, and then we gave a contribution chamber for 1,250. Mitigation plan, which probably shouldn't have come out of this one, but it did, was $1,000. And then we just did get billed for the fall dinner from West Virginia Municipal League. That cost going to be shared with Alpha. They're going to help pay for that, probably close to half. And then the fireworks are, usually we deal with the fireworks half in this year and half in next year. I was like, whoa, it's all on June 30th. So I had to put the fireworks in there to kind of get them funded and out of the way. So 20,000 for events in those items. As you recall, the city attorney, we had a wage in there for him, and we finished up that account number, so we're not using it, but it needed cleaned up. We had to clean up $271 in the salary part and $14 in the other where we expended, because we paid out some vacation time, and I hadn't calculated that quite right. So just to clean up that line item. Contingencies, I'm asking the council to contribute $34,870, which would be going back towards some of those events that are being budgeted. On fire capital, I'd like to move $7,800 into the training facility. The $7,800 was allocated for the fire chief's truck that has not been delivered, and so I now don't expect it to be delivered because new vehicles are just now being ordered, so I don't think we're going to get it till next year now. So I want that to go to the training facility. Street department utilities, and I think I mentioned this in the budget sessions. The utilities went up due to waste moving over there and there, some changes. So we're going to ask the waste department to start contributing to that. I'm budgeting for that now for July 1. But to clear up this account number, I estimated about $30,000 to clear up that utility account number. Street projects. Talked to Jerry. $30,000 is going to be added to street projects. In snow removal, we're finished with snow removal. At least I say we are. So we're taking 11,000 out of there and moving it to the project. So that's helping to compensate those street projects. The theater building, per talking to the contractor and Jerry, upgrading the, oh no, that's $50,000 we think will now finish up the construction work of that. And if you have any questions about, I'm not contractors, but he has estimated that to be safe, we probably should add $50,000 in there to finish it up. Under Stockert capital campaign, $20,000. As you know, they're upgrading their kitchen for the gas line, stove hood, and miscellaneous kitchen items. $20,000 for that. Then the event center salaries, I guessed at this, $5,000. It's a part-time employee, it's not a full-time employee, so we've got 3 months of this year to try to cover that. FICA to take care of that part of the salaries. Event center supplies, I wasn't sure about that, so I said $5,000 there. I really didn't know what to put in there. And then the training facility, $20,000. At the top, you're going to see the revenues that I've used to supplement this $127,000 budget revision. So prior year taxes, we've collected $17,000 more than we estimated. Event center revenues, because we will collect some rents from people, and I said $5,000 there, so that kind of takes care of the supplies or the salaries, whichever you want to call it. City license fees, we've collected $3,300 more. Building permit fees, $25,000 more. After school, I figured Stockert's after school would help pay for their kitchen renovation, so it's $20,000 that I'm moving up from that because they have collected more in after school fees. Street department billings, we collected $10,000 more than we anticipated. And then just miscellaneous billing type items, $46,700. So that's the budget revision. Any questions, concerns, changes?
The good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, this might be the last one we have to do in 2023 budget time before the first of the year.
They're usually, they'll just go, just so your heart isn't broken. It'll probably happen again.
Well, you said you work for us, so. You said it, not us.
It might happen.
This looks great. Looks very straightforward. Do any council members have any questions regarding what is proposed in front of us?
Amby, can you clarify why it is that waste would be paying half of the?
They are moved over there now entirely, and they should be paying half of their utilities.
Okay, so it's just the utility portion is what we're doing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
If you'll recall, we did give them a little bit of a break. We were in that transition period, so.
Yep, there's trade-offs of property and stuff, so I think by July 1, they should help pay with utilities now.
We are starting our process. This morning we started, as Councilman Rylands knows, we started our process with Waste Board with our budgets for next year. So this month we'll be going through and looking at each draft budget, and then hopefully in May we'll be able to pass each budget as they come along. So next week will be water that we'll be looking at. So, any other questions? Hearing none, I'd like to advance F3 to the table and go ahead and ask for a motion that we approve the budget revision.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McCauley, second by Mrs. Bucklew. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. All right, thank you, Amby, for that work. Oh yes, we do have this is a resolution, so I'll defer to Mr. Sanders for the roll call.
Mrs. Bucklew,
Yes.
Mr. McCauley,
Yes.
Mr. Rigger,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas is absent, Mr. Rollins,
Yes.
Mr. Skinner,
Yes.
Mr. Sanders votes yes.
All right, thank you, sir. And while you're still there, F4, we need to look at a renewal contract for our CPA services with Jeremy Drennan, who I believe you were just on the phone with before the meeting. Jeremy has been working with us since Mr. Trent retired. So if you want to walk us through any particulars.
Yeah, normally, you approved a contract with him for 21, and then usually we immediately after 21, we just start feeding financial information to him. With Mr. Trent, we didn't do an annual contract with him, but what brought this to fruition was when we were working with USDA again. They want contracts with any CPA that we're working with to be able to submit to them to show that we have a contract for a CPA that does financial work other than us, anybody that does financial work with. So I asked him for a contract. He sent one to me. It's in your packet. It's per hour, it would be about $100 an hour. He's going to meet with the mayor too as well. He will, the financial statements, and again, this is, again, what Mr. McCauley referred to, is this is for the water, the waste, the sewer, the consolidated public works, all of our accounts. So we have 50 plus accounts. He says we're a small giant, so, and that everyone tells us that. We have so much going on with funds and finances and leases, and so it won't cost any more than $6,000 to $8,000 a year. I really like a certified CPA looking at our books along with an audit. The more eyes on those, because if you miss something that might have changed in Gatsby rules, they catch it before it becomes a problem.
And it's critically important too that we have David Howe as our auditor, and so we want to have a completely different, unrelated firm to be our accountant. And Jeremy also, some of you may be familiar, Jeremy understands very well municipal work. Jeremy is the city manager for the city of Philippi, as well as being a CPA. So he understands municipal functions.
He works for other cities too, and he actually, when he worked for the state auditor's office, audited us before, so I feel real comfortable that he understands municipal bookkeeping very well.
Yeah. So this would be a request for us to be able to renew the contract that we have. We have that here this evening. Would you authorize me to sign that renewal?
So moved.
Second.
The motion by Mr. Sanders, a second by Mr. Rigger. Is there any further discussion? Hearing the need for none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Like sign opposed. Motion carries unanimously.
Did you want me to do anything with that too?
Let me see. Sure. Go right ahead.
Okay, so council approved authorization to seek financing for the seating at the Colonial Theater for the following year. So I solicited, and in your packet, you'll see the notice that I send to the local banks, and I'm seeking fixed rate financing quotes for seating and installation at Colonial Arts Center at 48 East Main Street. Financing agreement must include a non-appropriations clause. That's important for us. We cannot commit to something more than 1 year, so it leaves a clause in there, even though you're financing it, that at any point a council could say, we don't want to continue this. So the banks here are real familiar with it, and So I include the clause in there, some language if they want to add it or use their own. So there's two types of seating. I mentioned that to them. The total amount's $174,154, and then I ask them, it's for 3 years, and I ask them to have that submitted back to me by March 29th. 2 banks sent back quotes to me, and the lowest rate I got was 4.9% from Citizens Bank. The other one was higher, was at 7.75%. So in order to get that approved, because the bank won't do it without your approval, of course, and so I just need a motion if you want to go into that financing.
It's a no-brainer. I make a motion to accept the proposal at 4.9%.
4.9%, okay. So we have a motion by Mr. Rigger, we have a second by Mrs. Buckley. Do we have any further discussion?
In the motion, Randy, we just need all of that, what I just said, just copy and paste it.
You'll send that,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Hearing the need for no further discussion, I'll call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed? Oh, sorry, CJ, we'll consider that a unanimous vote. Bless you.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
All right, Amby, thank you. You were not incorrect. You said your report was much longer than Jerry. Of course, we held you up for a while. But okay, up next we have a much better looking fire chief.
How much did he pay you?
Yeah, well, Joey, we have not seen you to properly congratulate you, Mr. Citizen of the Year for the Buckhannon Upshur Chamber of Commerce.
Appreciate that. This evening I probably won't be nearly as quick as Jerry, but I definitely will not go as long as Amby. First, I actually want to thank Amby and you all for the money you guys just reallocated to the training facility. Our guys have actually been pretty busy out there, especially Lynn Baxa and John Bernoulli. If you get a chance to stop in while they're out there working, I'll take a look at what they've done. They've built a mock ranch style home for both use by the PD and the fire department to use for training. It's 3-bedroom, 1 bath, going to have a kitchen and the whole 9 yards. So it's going to be laid out just like most of the homes we're in and out of. So it's a very unique piece of training for us that a lot of departments don't have to use, and I think we'll probably be getting some requests to use that by other agencies.
That's great.
The money that you guys voted in their resolution tonight is going to be, we're not able to get into the live fire building yet and start working on that. Obviously, there's other city projects that the street department's tied up on, and got to get some other stuff moved around out there and some days of work. So we're focusing on the metal building right now. That money will be used to help clean up the area. We're going to be using it as like a dirty classroom out there, and just fix that area up to where it can be utilized a little better for us, and us and the police department. Moving on from that, just one other thing before I get into the numbers in your packet, I asked the public, I don't have a timeline, but just as those lights come online out on Route 33, 48, just be aware of that and look for that date coming up, because I think those have the potential to catch some people off guard, as the one in Crystal Springs did whenever it was first put up. So just want to make the public aware of that. As far as the numbers that you have in your packet tonight, there's really nothing outstanding. The only thing I really like to make sure to point out at the beginning of every year, because it really stands out at this point, if you look at the incident count that's broken down into different zones, you'll notice that the number of calls in the city is at 114, and then the first due area is 45. Page looks like this minus my notes. But the reason for that is that I always like to outline is we run EMS calls under certain criteria inside the city limits, and we do not run those automatically. We run those by request outside the city limits. So that puts a little bit of a disparagement in the numbers. If you were to take out those EMS calls, it would pretty well make the first due and the calls in the city limits even. So if council doesn't have any questions, that's all I have for this evening.
Any questions for Captain Baxa? Joey's been teaching more. He was in Southern California recently. I thought he was basking in wonderful weather, but in fact our weather was probably a little bit better than
A little tan. Tan.
Just the wind maybe.
Rain whipping into his face, yeah.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody stay safe down there.
All right. Spoke with Mr. O'Neill. He does not have a report this evening for us. So under correspondence and information, you will find some items of note. Report of cat and dog activity from the Upshur County Commission for February. My letter in support of our continued Quarter H project from Parsons to Davis relative to a Department of Transportation application. We have 2 FOIA requests. One, we receive a good bit, which is from Smart Procure for vendor information. A second from Mountaineer News Media for financial records for the Buckhannon Wamsby Host Committee. Notice of special city council meeting, and this is, as Mr. McCauley has loved to have pointed out over the years, this is our archaic meeting where we will lay our levy rate for the next year, where every single municipality will have to gather at the same day, same time to do this. So please mark your calendar for a 2-minute meeting on April 18th at 9 a.m. here in City Council chambers to do that formality. We have a letter of invitation from the Upshur County Homeless and Housing Coalition to join meetings. That was following some discussion at a previous city council meeting. We have a proclamation, as we do each and every year, for Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. That is April 2023. We met here last week on the steps of City Hall, and we took our picture and presented the proclamation. And then we also have some correspondence from Mrs. Susan King and Mrs. Debbie Shapiro requesting a forensic audit of the Upshur County Board of Education. I want to make it clear, we are not, the city of Buckhannon is not requesting an audit of the Board of Education. This is information only for us, and part of it is because we do provide utilities. Utility services to the school system from our operations here. But this is information only shared with us. Are there any questions, comments about correspondence and information?
Robbie, I would only point out that with regard to D4, Amby had a very well articulated response to that.
Yes.
Wamsby is not a subsidiary of the city of Buckhannon. We're supporting the event, but they're their own
Correct.
creature.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, under the consent agenda, we've got a slew of minutes to approve from all of our working budget sessions as well as our regular meeting. We have the approval of minutes for 3/14, special working budget session on 2/15, 2/27, and 3/13. Then we also have the approval of building and wiring permits, and we have the approval of the payment of our bills. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion by McCauley. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rigger. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay. Under strategic issues for discussion and or vote, we have taken care of F2, 3, and 4. So we will go back to the beginning with 1. And council, you have in your packet a event request form that is a formality. We started this last year for any and all events, regardless of their size, to fill out an event request form, which the Strawberry Festival has completed. And then they've also included their letter to us requesting all of the different streets, the parks for the use of this year's 81st annual Strawberry Festival. I will allow council to tell me how you'd like. Do you want me to read all 23 points, or do you want to just, I can tell you, I reviewed them. Aside from a request to also have fireworks this year, at the end of the night on Saturday, everything is pretty well listed the same.
I would move we approve this request. I think you're exactly correct, Mayor. That I don't see anything that jumps out at me that's new from the past several years.
Correct. We also, as I mentioned before, we've got Lori Meadows here, who is no stranger to any of us, but is Vice President of the Strawberry Festival. Shane could not be here this evening. So Lori, it's great to have you here. You are the mother-in-law of our guest of honor this evening as well. So please continue to extend our congratulations to her. But we have a motion on the table to go ahead and approve the Strawberry Festival's request.
I'll sit.
We'll give it to Pam, if that's okay. So we have a motion by Macaulay, a second by Pam. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you all very much. Okay, the last three items are relative to our cable television franchise and cable television agreement with what is now Optimum, formerly Suddenlink. F5 is we've had a couple of resignations from our TV cable board, and so I have one name, and we still will have one vacancy after this that I will need to ask your blessing on. But I have a name who has agreed to serve on the TV cable board, and that would be Peggy Ball. Peggy is a resident of Bogus Street here in the city and has agreed to serve on the TV cable board. Would you honor my request and approve Mrs. Ball?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Macaulay, we have a second by Rigger to approve Peggy Ball to the TV cable board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries, and I have asked a few others, but I've not gotten that sure I'll do it yet. So perhaps next council meeting, I will have our final person on that board. And if it happens earlier, we might be able just to circulate a vote, or we can do it on our April 18th meeting.
Can I mention another name to you on the QT?
Sure, that would be great. Okay. F6, the cable franchise renewal agreement from Altice, which is it's still labeled here, to expire on 6/30. We need to refer this to the TV cable board for their review. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Sanders. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, is there any further discussion?
I want to ask a question.
Yes.
This renewal, how many years is that for? Does it have to
I
be?
believe it's 5 years.
5.
It is 5? Because we did it in 16, didn't we?
It was done in 18. Last time it was in 18.
Oh, it's done in 18, so it's 5 years, okay.
No, it was done in 2016. Rick Edwards
Really?
signed the franchise.
Because that's what's in here.
There was one done for just shortly before the pandemic. Yeah, there was some kind of renewal that I recall.
The one that's in here's got Rick Edwards' name on it.
Well,
I was mayor at the start of the pandemic, and I'm sure that we did not do anything with Altice then. The last franchise agreement was signed in March of 2016, 2 months before I was sworn in, and Rick Edwards signed it.
So then it's a 7-year.
I think we ought to look very closely at the term.
the term is negotiated as part of the process. So it could be 5, it could be 10, it could be somewhere in between. It's really up to the council.
Just keep in mind that our TV cable board meetings are, of course, open to the public. We will be scheduling one of those once we get it full to review everything. But I agree, we need to look at.
Mr. Skinner, before the folks in the community get fired up because I've dealt with this ever since I came to Buckhannon 40 years ago. We, as a governmental entity, as the franchising entity, we cannot regulate rates and we cannot regulate programming.
Correct.
So there's very little that municipalities can do.
This is basically an allowance to do business in our city.
That's right.
Yeah.
Correct. And in order to show that a cable provider is not doing what it needs to do under FCC standards, there would be a myriad of complexities that we would never be able to meet relative to the current operation.
Right.
As angering as we sometimes get at our cable provider.
Yeah.
Question, is this the document that's going to the cable board?
This is the one you're looking at in this packet is the lease agreement, which I think is your next item, F7.
Correct.
The franchise agreement
They
is
had
not
that
in there.
Secretary Hill.
Franchise agreement and lease agreement are two different things.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
But they run about the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically a month off.
But my motion was to refer this document to the, refer to the TV board.
That is correct.
Right.
We are not renewing the franchise here tonight.
Right,
We are,
recommendation.
this is a recommendation, this is a referral to the TV cable board.
To get their recommendation
Correct.
after they review it.
All right, so you motioned, who seconded? I don't remember. Rigger? Okay. All right. Is there any further discussion on the matter? Hearing the need for none, we'll call for the question to refer this matter to the TV cable board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. On F7,
That's the lease agreement.
that's the lease agreement, but we do not have a new lease agreement to sign. This is the one that is currently in effect.
That's right. This one expires on May 31st.
Correct.
This year. And that's, as you can see, that's where we have, they have equipment on our property. that
Right.
they has- He can tell you.
Microphone.
You can tell him. Oh, you can't.
I'm wearing two hats here.
Well,
For
this has-
TJ's sake and the others.
Okay, so this lease agreement is entered in with a sequel for them to use our property and pay us lease payments.
For antennas and satellites and
Yes,
things like
on
that,
our
yeah.
property, on the city's property. And this lease agreement expires May 31st.
But my
It's a
point,
separate.
it's a separate matter.
Separate.
But we do not have this evening something to execute. So perhaps we should table this until the 20th meeting.
Yeah, this is just for
Let me-
discussion
can
that
I
we need.
Sure.
Say something else too? We have a very odd situation that these are not identical dates with the franchise agreement.
That's right.
So we could have a very bizarre situation where you would approve a lease and then not grant the franchise. So it would make sense to maybe have these simultaneously, same date.
That makes sense.
Well,
Well, Tom, you're shaking your head no. The fact of the matter is that we approved the lease tonight.
They're completely different matters.
The lease could be approved tonight, right? First reading.
There's no lease to.
we don't have
It's
a,
just for
We're
discussion.
tabling it.
It's going to
Okay.
be brought up.
But next meeting, are we gonna have something to look at that's gonna be
Yes.
a different date?
yeah.
So my point is that as we evolve to this, if we could have the dates the same between the two agreements, it would make a lot of sense.
Also, I have a question. This lease agreement, is it necessary the same length as the franchise agreement?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
If they have to pay the lease,
Correct.
Right.
no matter what. I mean, we could execute the lease agreement, and if we don't execute the franchise agreement, they're still leasing, they still owe us lease payments.
But let's get the language.
Right.
Let's see what it says before, let's get that far. So the next meeting, we should have the language here for us to review, to see what the dates are,
Right.
all the stipulations. Because what we have in the packet tonight is what it was signed at the time by Mayor Edwards
Right.
that expires on 5/31. So the request tonight is to table this until the 20th meeting, which will be the next meeting of this month. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion by Randy, second by Pam. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Like sign opposed, motion has carried unanimously. We are down to council comments and announcements, and we will begin over here with Mrs. Bucklew.
Okay, I brought this up before about people keeping their garbage cans out on the streets, like from week to week instead of putting them out. I've talked to some people who in other towns, they have some towns have like a 48-hour thing where if they don't bring them in, they can be fined. I don't think it's right if you live on the street, keep your property nice, that you gotta deal with those garbage cans sitting all the way down the street. For
I'll
days
address
at a
that.
time. Days at a time.
Jerry?
Yeah, we do have an ordinance.
We did?
Your
Yeah.
garbage cans must be brought back in within 24 hours of your collection time.
You'll have to give us, Vincent Smith, our housing enforcement officer, will
Right.
go talk to the people if you can tell us where they're at.
Yes.
So if you tell your,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
yeah, if you tell your, who's talking to you about it, call City Hall, that work order will go into a queue,
Okay.
which then signals Vincent Smith to go address it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I overlooked, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. And something else I wanted to read to everyone. I have some friends in Braxton County who come to our dump here, okay? And I got an email from her, and this is what I want you to hear. It says, "Hi Pam, I don't know if the city of Buckhannon ever gives accommodations for good service, but I would like to recommend the gentleman who works the waste station at the city trash dump. Mike and I have been there several times, and this man is always helpful and kind. He goes out his way to be polite and cheerful. I have his name on the receipt that he gave us. His name is BJ Teets. I just wanted to bring this to the city council's attention. People like him make the world a much better place. So it's nice to hear some positive comments."
You're exactly right. And we find ourselves in a lot of times the community complaint department, but it's nice when we receive some good news. So BJ, if you're watching, thank you very much for treating all of our patrons at the way station with kindness. And Jerry, would you please extend that message to him when you see him, and I'll try to get out there myself to thank him. So
They came from Braxton County, they bring from Braxton County.
Very good.
Got me that letter. Thank you, that's all I wanted, but have a happy Easter, everyone.
thanks, Pam. David?
Just a quick thanks to the DOH. It's been, I think, 4 years ago this month, this week in fact, that Matt Himes was killed out on Route 33. And, you know, the county and the city both took actions with the state to ask them to review the problems on 33. So the quicker we can get those lights functioning, the better. And would it be possible for us to have a short 5-minute executive session after the regular session to discuss property and personnel matters?
Sure. Yeah. Anything else?
That's all I got. Thanks.
All right.
Happy Easter.
Thank you. Jack?
Yeah, a couple of things. I need to second what Pam shared. Even before I was on the city council, I would go out to the transfer station, and they're always professional, they're gentlemen, and I have to second that. I've never had a bad experience out there. I want to ask if we put the, is there a plan to put the police and fire fee on the agenda anytime soon? I'd like to see it on the agenda. We've talked about it. I'd like to see it on the agenda. Where are we at on that?
We've looked at it in our revenue and expense review committee, and I believe that we have a good idea of the revenue that it would bring to us if we looked at increasing those fees. But I don't know that we're all the way finished with our.
Can I add something? I met with Jeff Harvey, Randy and I actually,
Yeah.
because he had several questions about fire service and fire fees, and I think he's pretty close to coming back with a report.
He's very close, yeah.
To you.
Uh-huh.
And perhaps that'd be a good time
I-
to start that discussion after he does that report to you, because he
I think
did
it
bring
will
that
be.
up.
Yeah.
Thank you, that answers that question. And I have another issue. I've requested numerous times, and I'm a little sour right at the moment. I received the packet at 3:41 this afternoon. I did not have an opportunity to go through it. And I sit here embarrassed as I'm looking at Altice and the lease, not being able to differentiate between the two. The agenda needs to be in our hands by Tuesday evening, so we have a reasonable amount of time to go through it and fully comprehend and understand it. I've asked that, I've requested that, and I'm going to request it again. I'm not pointing fingers, but to me it's embarrassing if I'm looking at a document and I make comments on it and I'm off in left field when I haven't had a chance to review it. So I'd like to have, the agenda completed earlier.
Well, the
Yeah,
agenda
that's
is
where I'm
completed,
at.
but the packet, yes, the packet. Okay.
That's, and I hate to be negative and sour, but I want to try to end on a good note. I hope everyone has a wonderful Good Friday. And I guess I made this kind of a Monday, Thursday meeting for us, and I'm sorry. So.
But just to respond to that very quickly, I understand what you're saying, but please know the agenda, we are required by state law to publish the agenda 72 hours in advance of a meeting. Every Monday of a city council, before a city council meeting, myself, Mr. Sanders, Amby, Teresa, Jerry, we and then if it's JB's meeting or if it's Matt's meeting, we work to set the agenda, and it is always out around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday prior to a city council meeting on Thursday. What you're referring to are all of the documents that are in here, which I understand what you're saying. Some of this stuff does not come to us when the agenda is actually set. At that point, sometimes when we put different things on the agenda, we put it on anticipating that we will receive the information sometime between Monday and Thursday. Again, because we have to have the agenda out in such an early period of time. But we will, we'll work on that with office staff here, and to try to increase or bring the timing back a couple of days for the packet. But there still could be a few stragglers here or there. We may have 70 or 80% of the packet, but sometimes we don't receive all the information from particularly our correspondents until
I certainly understand
that day.
And I've been a part of agendas 30 years now, so Wednesday would be great,
Yeah.
early on Thursday morning. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you. CJ.
Happy Easter.
Good report, CJ. Mr. Sanders.
Couple of things. I had a very busy week last week with two guests from Ghana who traveled to Buckhannon, West Virginia to do a site visit for the World Association of Marching Show Bands. And to give you an idea of what kind of a task that is, their flight left to go back to Ghana at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, and during this meeting I got a message that we said we have arrived safely in Ghana. So here it is Thursday evening. It took them almost 24 hours to get between here and the first stop. Another second stop was first stop New York, next stop Amsterdam, another stop after that, and then back into Ghana. They, though, had a very aggressive schedule. They met with the president of West Virginia Wesleyan College, the superintendent of schools. the mayor, county commissioners, and all about creating a relationship beyond the competition. And that's what it's all about. They're hoping that not only will they be able to come here and win, is what their intention is, but they also want to talk about cultural exchange programs, educational exchange programs. They'd love to see the very best teacher from our county go to Ghana and give a lecture at some point, maybe teach some classes, and vice versa. One of their teachers come here and work in our school system. You know, they met our fire department crew, they met our police department crew. They spoke very highly of our preparations. It was just a wonderful gathering of Nicholas Amatofio and Evelyn Thomas from the National Cadet Corps of Ghana and the National Educational Services of Ghana. Evelyn is the senior accountant for the entire school system in Ghana. The other thing I wanted to mention was I am doing a rare MC gig on April 15th at 11 o'clock for the POE. They're having a fashion show to raise money for the scholarship program, and I don't do this too often. But I'm going to clear my voice up from this cold, and I will be at the Opera House. So if you haven't purchased tickets to the fashion show that'll be put on by Caroline and Company, PEO, that's right, the PEO. Mayor Skinner's mother is president of the PEO. What did I say?
POE.
Oh my goodness.
I have a fun acronym. I have a fun wording for this, so I'll tell you.
So PEO is who I'll be working with, and they're a great organization. And that's the only reason I'm doing it. I don't even see a whole lot anymore, but I'm going to be doing that, and yeah, it's going to be a great. Miss West Virginia USA is coming in to make a special appearance and be a model for Caroline and Company. The Outpost is going to be participating in Mountain Chic
Boutique. Yeah.
Boutique is also going to be participating. So find somebody in the POE and buy a ticket to attend that. PEO. I will get it right. I got to make sure your mom knows I'll get it right.
That's right.
PEO. We'll see you there on April 15th.
I'd say your secret's safe with me, but TV, they watch. So.
It's been a long week. I'll be rested by then. PEO.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hi, Robbie's mom and dad.
Anything else?
That's all.
All right. Mentioned at the very beginning of the meeting, if you are interested, please note that Virgil's viewing will be tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's a very long viewing. It will be at West Virginia Wesleyan College inside Wesley Chapel. If you are in that area, please expect some much added activity in the Wesleyan area tomorrow, the streetscape around the college, and then again from Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12:30, in which the funeral will follow that also at Wesleyan. I would also ask you this evening to please keep our fellow counselor David Thomas in your thoughts and prayers. He suffered a fall last night, and he is in the hospital tonight, overnight at Reuben Memorial in Morgantown. So please keep him in your thoughts and prayers as he recovers from that bad fall. I had a really great experience last week. I was up in Washington, D.C. With the National League of Cities meeting, as well as some of the executive board of the West Virginia Municipal League, for which I'm a part of. We had meetings about infrastructure, about economic development, and also about our Strawberry Festival with Senator Manchin, Senator Capito, Representative Mooney, Representative Miller, Carol Miller, who's not ours here in Buckhannon, but in the southern part of West Virginia. We also had we got to meet with the Secretary of the Interior at the White House. It was a lot of fun to be invited to a meeting at the White House. Many of us have toured the White House at leisure, but to be at a meeting was pretty darn cool. So we had a great experience. Very, very good meetings that took place for the betterment of West Virginia's cities. There's a lot that we accomplished at the state capitol. level, but there's also a lot that we need to accomplish on the national level as well. And then upcoming, I will be attending the board meeting in May, which will be in Parkersburg with Mayor Tom Joyce. So Parkersburg will be hosting us this spring. As you'll recall, Buckhannon hosted this past fall. So we are a very important city in the West Virginia Municipal League. Our tenure with the league goes back many, many years, and this community has a tremendous amount of respect from the league and from the other mayors in our state. So always a pleasure to be with them and a pleasure to represent Buckhannon and West Virginia as we work to always further and improve our community. With that, I don't have anything else, and at 8:10, great meeting, good timing. I entertain a motion that we adjourn into a brief executive session relative to property and personnel matters. Do you anticipate any decisions?
No, sir.
No decisions will be made this evening. So that motion has been made. Thank you all very much. I hope everybody has a very happy Easter and a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Go PEO.